Hello and welcome back to Money Control's live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Lavisha Darad, and joining my colleague Yatin Mota. Well, Yatin, we are into the second day of the green today, but I wouldn't call it a big recovery given that Nifty is still clutching above that 24,800 levels. But yes, Sensex up over 100 points and India Wix has shown some cool off, down 2% today. However, broader markets that continue to underperform, mid-cap and small-cap indices down in the red once again. And among the sectoral indices, Nifty Auto down ahead of M&M numbers which will be due today in some time. Earlier, the company was scheduled to announce results tomorrow, but it will be out sometime today itself. But other than that, Nifty Pharma and Realty indices also continue to sulk. And what contributed to the up move was some slim gains which were seen in the Nifty IT index, and FMCG stocks also did well. So, Yatin, second day of positivity for Nifty, but we're still below the 25,000 levels. How do you make sense of this?
Yeah. I think, the markets were mildly in the green, if I may put it so. Sensex 140 points up, Nifty only 35 points up. But yes, intraday, there was volatility which continued in the market. In fact, we had a low of nearly 24,770 and we bounced back nearly 100 points from the day's low. Advance decline ratio also almost 1:1, and two IPOs. One was InCube, IndiCube, REITs that listed down by about 8%, and we had the electronics company which listed at a 40% premium. We had GNG Electronics surging by nearly 96 rupees to close at 333. So good listing gains coming in for those stocks.
That's right. Now let's see some of the top gainers and losers on the Nifty 50. If you look at the top gainer, L&T is definitely one of the outperformer today with about 5% gains. We did see that the company report an all-round Q1 performance, and brokerages also were quite optimistic given that management is quite optimistic on meeting its full year guidance as well for FY26. So yes, L&T doing well on back of that. We'll discuss the stock more later in the segment. NTPC also did well with about 1.2% gains, good Q1 numbers, and that's what impressed the street as well. Sun Pharma also did well with about 1.3%. Now the counter is up for the 6th consecutive day. Maruti Suzuki ahead of its first quarter numbers, which will be due tomorrow, doing well on back of that. Tata Consumer Products also did well in today's trading session, extending gains to about third straight day as well. On the other hand, if you look at the losers on the Nifty 50, Tata Motors not doing well with about 3% downtick. Well, it is down ahead of its potential acquisition of an Italian truck maker, but however, the stock did not do well in today's trade session. 3.4% downtick coming in for Tata Motors. Eternal also was one of the top losers with about 1% decline. After the stock has clinched its record highs, the stock is now down for the 4th consecutive session. Hero MotoCorp with about 1.7% decline. Cipla also did not do well with about a percent decline. Power Grid ahead of its Q1 numbers with about 1.4% decline. Bajaj Auto also with about a percent decline, and one of the top losers on the Nifty 50. But yes, broader end of the markets, they continue to underperform. Mid caps with about flat with a positive negative bias, small caps with a larger cut of about 0.5% or so. Yatin, what are you gathering from this area of the markets?
Yeah, so if you look at the mid-cap end of the market, again, stock-specific action continues on Dalal Street. In fact, if you look at New India Assurance post the numbers, that stock was 18% higher. DMart after the analyst meet today, and obviously we'll talk about this investor day in detail, 7% up for that stock. Sumitomo Chemicals, Jubilant Pharma also 6-7% higher. What was not doing well is Redington post weak margins. That stock fell 18% intraday to end the day lower by nearly 8%, almost trading at the day's low. We had Zen Technologies, weak numbers, stock continues to be at lower circuit, 5% down. Five Star Finance also moved down by about 6%. But what was doing well is Power India, Schneider, G Vernova. All of these stocks, especially to do with the capital goods in the power sector, saw a surge. So all of those stocks were in focus. Apart from that, we had Bosch and HDFC AMC hitting fresh 52-week highs.
That's right. Since you're talking about the capital goods stock that did well, let's also talk about the first stock in focus. That was your L&T, because it was the top performer of the day. Good June quarter numbers, both the top line and bottom line figures were ahead of the street estimates. And besides that, the order book stood quite healthy. And what impressed investors were the new order inflows, which was the highest ever that the company has seen in its first quarter performance. Now, brokerages were also quite enthused by the company's performance, and they have risen the target prices on the counter. For instance, if you look at Morgan Stanley, they have maintained an overweight rating on the counter and have hiked the target price to about 4,090 per share. And Motilal Oswal has also given out a buy call on the counter with a price target of about 4,200 rupees per share. Now, brokerages and consensus, they were optimistic on the counter because the company has maintained its full year guidance for the revenue growth, margins as well as order inflow growth. On the other hand, Jefferies, they highlighted that the higher contribution from the hydrocarbon business gives its comfort on margins having some potential upside going ahead. If you look at another brokerage firm, which is your CLSA, they also gave out an outperform rating on the counter with a target price of about 4176 rupees. And the brokerage underlined was that apart from new orders, a key positive during the quarter was a big beat on the working capital and a robust core execution. So all in all, brokerages have remained quite bullish on the counter. The stock has also seen a good, decent upside with about 5% gains. Yet then we have been worried about private capex not picking up. But given that the management has reassured of maintaining its full year guidance, is quite positive coming in from one of the heavyweight capital good major.
Yes, and apart from that, execution improved, order book improved 25% to a level of 6 lakh crores. And clearly that coupled with good execution, stable margins made the day for L&T, Lavisha.
That's right. Now let's talk about another stock in focus, that was your Asian Paints, because that gained in trade today and it eventually settled with about 0.5% gains. The company did see revenue and profit in the June quarter as it continues to see stiff competition, and some of the demand impact was seen due to the early monsoons that happened in June. But yes, domestic decorative paints business, that did relatively better compared to the earlier quarters, and we saw a volume growth of about 4% on a Y-on-Y basis. However, operating margins, that was marginally lower due to higher sales and marketing investments. Now, what the brokerages have made of the numbers, Jefferies have maintained a buy call on the counter and they've raised the target price to about 2,900 rupees. Now, they believe that Asian Paints is a good contrarian play and they anticipate a recovery in the volume growth ahead from the FMCG pack. Similarly, if you look at HSBC, they have also retained a buy call on the counter. However, they have cut the target price to about 2,800 from 2,900 rupees, and they pointed out to some emerging green shoots in the demand patterns, and they expect that the company will benefit from the second quarter from an early festive season. Now, higher titanium oxide prices remain a key concern, but they believe that these could be balanced out by softer prices for other raw materials for the company as well. So, all in all, despite a muted June quarter performance, brokerages continue to remain bullish on the counter. Yet then, earlier for Asian Paints, we have seen quite plenty of downgrades, given that Birla Opus entry did mark a heated competition. But now we have a brokerage firm saying that it could be a good contra bet going ahead.
Yes, and I think valuations have become undemanding. The stock has done nothing probably in the last 1-2 years, and the management does expect recovery in the festive season. Overall, the margins also have been stabilizing, so the pricing pressure is also easing gradually in the marketplace. So yes, brokerages are hopeful that Asian Paints once again roars when it comes to the returns generated earlier, which could continue moving forward.
That's right. Since we have talked about one consumer stock, we'll also touch upon Varun Beverages, because that stock also did well, settled with about 2% gains. If you look at the second quarter of calendar year 25 performance, that was a mixed bag, because we did see India volumes taking a hit, but overall margins, that is what surprised the street on a positive note. But region-wise, if you look at sales volumes in India, that declined by about 7%. International volumes, however, registered a strong growth about 15%. And South Africa alone itself posted about 16% rise, partially offsetting any overall decline in the volumes itself. And the brokerages, they remain quite positive on the counter. If you look at Goldman Sachs, they've raised the target price to about 610 from 590 rupees, and the target the brokerage believes, and the brokerage has also maintained a buy call on the counter. What they believe is that the company is expected to see a recovery from the second half of the FY26, and CLSA has also maintained a high conviction outperform call on the counter, and they have reduced, however, the target price to about 774 to about from about 786 rupees. Now, the India segment, Varun Beverage is expecting a capex intensity to reduce to about 600 crore from 700 crore rupees, and the company has appointed Pankaj Madan, who is a new chief financial officer who has experience in Interglobe Enterprise and Bharti Walma, to drive the business forward. So yeah, then all in all, if you look at Varun Beverages, good commentary coming in for the counter despite what subdued summer season we have witnessed. Earlier valuations have been a concern and that's what limited the upside in Varun Beverages, but today the stock did well, ending with about 2% gains.
Yes, and yesterday also Lavisha posted the numbers. The stock saw good price and volume action. Obviously, because of the weak summer that we saw, or probably a mild summer, we had the beverage demand which also fell. Probably because of which the volume growth did fall in the India operations. But yes, that was compensated by growth in the African operations, which is now a focus point of the markets. But from food, beverages to the FMCG retailers, DMart, that is one counter we need to watch out for, because today we had the investor meeting which started and kicked off on a strong note. The stock ended almost at the day's high, 7% higher. And DMart did talk about the concerns which investors raised regarding the quick commerce competition. Now, DMart says the only way to counter the quick commerce competition is to keep adding stores aggressively. And they have announced that they would be looking to double their investments in the store addition plan moving forward. In fact, they are looking to grow at 18-20% and to add stores at the rate of 10 to 15%. So good guidance, or probably aggressive targets when it comes to new store additions. When it comes to quick commerce, they are not really worried about the competition erupting there. In fact, they are of the belief now that real estate and addition of stores is quite important. So they are identifying the proper real estate and they are trying to get into store addition, especially in North India. The management is of the view that there could be some higher scope for growth. Also, quick commerce hasn't really impacted the margins at this point in time. So, post good commentary at the start of first day of the investor come analyst meet, we had DMart shares which continued to remain under focus.
That's right. In expansion spree, that is where all the majority of the quick commerce players have been betting on as well. But yes, that's all the stock we have for today. M&M will be reporting its numbers in sometime today itself, and more auto numbers will be out tomorrow. Eicher Motors and Maruti is scheduled to report its results tomorrow. We'll also be seeing some reaction from the FOMC meeting. Interest rate decision will be out today. We'll watch out for some narrative and clues that the chief Jerome Powell gives out into overnight as well. But until then, it's a wrap from Yatin and me. Thank you for watching.